Hello, welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons Live. I'm Fergus. I've got one of these bruised banana masks on that we've all got to wear by Friday. But it's not Friday, so it's coming off. If you want one of these, they're quite cool. They're quite novel. They're a little novelty item that you can get from She Wore. So if you want to have one of those, feel free to click on She Wore's website or go on the Facebook or Twitter. But there we go. Gavin, I've given you a shout out, mate. Right, we've got a smaller panel tonight. We've got my good old faithful, Scunny Mike, back again. He's back again.
Back again, as always.
Back again, yeah.
I'm like a bad smell.
Mem back again with us as well. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it a couple of times at last minute a few weeks back, but all's good and everything's happy and you're in your world, so that's good. It's good to have you on, mate, and we can have a good chat. I know we chat.
Thank you.
Gee.
Yeah.
What do we chat? Probably twice a day. Oh, you probably talk to me more than you talk to your wife.
I wouldn't quite say that, but yeah, we talk regularly.
Yeah. And Richard, the Shaka Appreciation fan group, how are you?
The one and only Jacker fan club member. Yeah, I'm okay.
Rich, we were having a little bit of banter with Potsy and stuff on Twitter. Who's scared to come on tonight, apparently, according to me anyway. You will have an opportunity to sing that man's praises. To be honest,
I look forward to it.
When we look at the City game, which we will look back to, we'll also look at the Villa game from last night. We'll look ahead to the final game of the season. We won't really go into the FA Cup final tonight because, listen, we'll have one more podcast before then, and probably two more podcasts before we finish for our summer break in the autumn, nearly. But yeah, we're gonna look at the City game to start off with. The FA Cup semi-final is the first time. We are the first team to eventually achieve 21 FA Cup finals by beating Man City. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think any of us were really overconfident going into this. We could see improvements under Arteta. We could see that we're making some progress, but we could see we're also a million miles away from the likes of Liverpool and Man City. What did you, Mike? I'll start with you. What did you make of the sort of lineups and how Arteta set up for that game?
Well, he set up similar to the Liverpool game, didn't he? So it was a similar way. I think it was. I don't know if it was it. Yeah, it was exactly the same lineup as the Villa. Liverpool game, wasn't it? Was it one change? So yeah, it was pretty similar. So you could tell what he was trying to achieve on there, because if he was going for a similar sort of product and game of what he was expecting for Liverpool, which was a high press from the opposing team, then yeah, I think he set up quite right with it. In all fairness, I think with the lineups, we weren't expecting much else. I think, to be fair, I wasn't expecting a result that we got. So, happy days.
Mem, your thoughts on the lineup and how we started out?
Yeah, I think Mike said it right. The lineups are really similar because I think the Liverpool game was more unexpected because I think Liverpool were really good on the night. They looked like they were really up for it, and but the City game, it went really well. It just seemed that Arteta knew and was able to second guess what they were going to do, and naturally having spent so much time as their coach. We set up really well to soak it up. It was a really tough start to the game, and we scored at the right time, and goals always change games. And it kind of played out in a way that really suited us, really. I thought the goalie was really good again, Fergus. I know we've spoken about it. I just feel just by merely putting his foot on the ball and bringing them on, and he was to a degree inviting them onto us, and their game is all about high pressure. But I feel Arteta played it really well. He just felt a step. It felt to me as though we were a step ahead of it throughout the whole night.
You mentioned the keeper. The commentators mentioned fixed on the ball and stuff like that. That he was doing everything and anything within the rules just to grab an extra 2 or 3 seconds to slow play down and do stuff. Richard, what did you make of the lineup? Obviously, your favourite player started, as he has for most games since the restart.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as the guy said, it was expected, really, wasn't it? The lineup. I don't think there was any surprises really. Which I think that seems to be Arteta's go-to 11 now, doesn't it? If you look at the 2 big games that we had, that seems to be the way he's going to go at this moment in time. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much as expected. I mean, I know nobody was overly confident. I did feel that Arteta's inside knowledge of Man City would be useful for us in terms of nullifying their dangers and their threats, which is what we did actually perfectly throughout the game. De Bruyne had very little influence. Sterling had very little influence apart from that one chance he had. Mahrez, again, one chance in the whole game. And this is a team that scored, 150 goals in all competitions this season. And basically they created, not so much created, but they had very few actual shots at our goal, didn't they? I mean, I saw a stat earlier. I think it was the least shots they've had in a game at goal for about 2 years.
Was it one shot on target for them?
Something like that.
Did 16 shots on our goal, but only one on target.
One on target, shots on target. Yeah, so some of that you could say is down to their finishing, but it wasn't. It was to do with the fact that we closed them down so quickly. We shut all the spaces off, and it was a tactical masterclass from Arteta, wasn't it, on that particular day? But I suppose, given his inside knowledge, that shouldn't really be a surprise because he knew exactly what to do to nullify him, didn't he? And luckily, and well done to the players because they carried it out to perfection, didn't they? For 95 minutes, whatever it was.
But lads, and whoever wants to jump in can jump in on this one. But Luiz, who has been pilloried left, right, and centre, I've said from the very start since he signed with us that he's a 2 out of 10 player or a 10 out of 10 player. And to be honest, against Man City, he was a 10 out of 10. But Luiz, as part of a 3, makes a huge difference. He won the league with Chelsea as part of a 3. And do you think that's where Arteta sees him? And do you think Arteta is building our defence for next season around David Luiz in the centre of a 3? Who wants to go first?
I think it's too soon.
Well, I'll go. Yeah and no, because I think, in all fairness, I can't see another centre back coming into Arsenal at the minute. I really can't. We've got Saliba coming in this as a new signing. Really, we've bought Kieran Tierney, and there's not really much else coming in the centre back role. I can see going out, but not coming in. So I can see for this next season coming, yes, I can see it being more of a back 3 than a back 2 at centre back. Just because we've just signed him to a new yearly contract. Other than that, yeah, he's played a couple of he played a blinder against Liverpool and he played a blinder against City. And I'm not going to take that away from him. He was probably definitely one of the man of the match for them games. Like you said, he's either a 2 out of 3, 2 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. And he needed to step up where he needed to step up and he stepped up. So we can't fault him for that one. So yeah, if he wants to build on this, because I know there's a lot of talk about him trying to build for a 4-3-3 formation, Arteta over the next coming years. You can't. I don't think he's going to do that next season. I think with David Luiz signing that extra year contract, I think he's going to try and maybe move towards that for the season after next, and then see where he can build from there. Especially with a new young centre back coming in with Saliba, you've got Mustafi.
You've got Chambers, you've got Mustafi. And listen,
I'll get on to Holding because I wasn't, because I think that's more for the Villa game. But there is there's talk about a few rumours of centre backs leaving, and I can see some of them ones that we feel that should be coming through will be leaving.
We've got Pablo Mari as well, don't forget. He signed a new sort of 4-year deal, hasn't he? So we've got him as well. So yeah, we have got a lot of players at centre back. I mean, the quality is varied, I suppose, in a way. We've got a couple of decent ones and a couple of not so good ones, but I suppose that's where we are throughout the team, I suppose, in general. I mean, on David Luiz, I think he gets a lot of criticism. For example, he has one poor game when he makes a mistake or two. He then have 6 or 7 steady games when he's nice and solid, and then he'll make another mistake. And everyone says he always makes mistakes, but he doesn't always make mistakes. He makes one mistake every 10 games. These happen to be quite bad mistakes usually, which costs us a goal or costs us something. So I think sometimes he's a little bit. He's had this reputation, even when he was at Chelsea, was the same, mistake prone, error prone, this, that, and the other, which he does make mistakes. We can't deny that. And maybe it's a little bit of a concentration issue. When it's a big game like it has been, he was more focused. I don't know whether that was part of it, but also because he's a ball playing defender. He's good with the ball at his feet. He wants to come out with the ball. He wants to try and play a pass over the top. Sometimes we lose the ball. He's out of position and then he gets caught out. And I think sometimes that's happened. But I think he's actually quite underrated as a player in general, plus as a defender. And I think for us this season, apart from 1 or 2 really, really high-profile mistakes, I think he's had a solid season for us, despite all the sort of difficulties that there's been at the club all through the season with different managers and all this, that, and the other. I think he's had a pretty solid season, actually. You know, considering if people thought he'd come to end his career, he seems to be respected by the younger players. He seems to have good leadership qualities on the pitch, and his performances generally have been reasonably solid, considering he's been playing in a defence which, for the first half of the season in particular, wasn't very well protected. And you can see that the improvement he's made has been because he's been more protected in the subsequent games since Arteta's come in.
I agree that a goalkeeper and a defender and that players are protected by the layers that are in front of them, and that the strikers go ahead and just do the finishing. So the defensive midfield and the defense protect the goalkeeper. I think since Xhaka and Ceballos, or since Xhaka and Torreira lesser to a certain degree, have been on front of that back three and having the outlets with Tierney, with Cedric, who didn't have a great game last night, with Cedric and Bellerin. I think it does help. It does help David Luiz, but had a good season, Richard. I'd have to disagree.
I think he's had a solid season, considering we look at all our other defenders.
No, I wouldn't say he's had a solid season. I know where you're coming from. If I was to give him, and we'll do an end of season review, I'm hoping to get somebody on for that one. But if I was to give him a score in a season so far, probably 5.5.
What about the other defenders? What about the other defenders?
Yeah, you could say that about the whole team, though, Fergus. To be fair, I'll give you that. It's not just blamed on Luiz. I think I get what Richard is saying, but the problem is with David Luiz is when he makes that mistake, it's a high-profile mistake every time. Do you know what I mean? It's never a simple mistake that could be rectified quite quickly. It's always a high-profile mistake, and that's the issue that we've got with David Luiz. It's always a high-profile mistake. It's either a red card, a penalty. It's either a red card, a penalty, or it goal.
He just can't. The problem with him, I feel, because he has got ability, guys. He is a ball playing. He's a better footballer, in my opinion, than a defender. But when he's focused and concentrated, he does a really good job. The problem with him is I don't think he can concentrate every week, every 3 days, on the big games. Yeah, he shows up. You could call him a big match player to a degree, but he just lacks concentration, guys. He has got ability. He can do a job. He's been around. He's been at some big clubs and won a lot. So I don't think he's no mug. But I don't think any of our defenders have actually covered themselves in glory. I'd also like to say the way the season's been, like the first half and then second half and then the break-up, it's also difficult for teams to get into a rhythm of sorts. Hence why he's picked a few occasions when he's picked the same side over and over again, which helps work. And he's improved everybody, guys, at the end of the day. You know, the defenders, the whole unit is improved, the competitiveness, the compactness of the team, the way they're working together for each other. So, yeah, everyone's levels have gone up. What?
I didn't get the opportunity to ask you. I've asked some of the other guys before, and we've done stuff on some of the Facebook pages. And I know you don't use Facebook, but on Martinez, we've talked a lot about Martinez. He's 10 years with the club. He's made 33 appearances. For me, in that game, probably just against 10 other players, or 9 other players at least, pipped man of the match, and he has been man of the match for game after game after game. Would he be your number one over Leno?
I think they're both really good goalies. I really do think that we're fortunate we've got 2 decent goalkeepers. I just think his decision making is better than Leno's. When the ball comes to him, his distribution, he knows when to move it along, 1 touch, 2 touch. He plays the right ball at the right time, when to go long, when to go to the wide man, when to slip it in. The other night, he did something that was, oh God, was it Sterling that he threw a dummy to literally on our goal line? There was a player which, okay, it turned out okay in the end. But other than that one moment, he's not put me to the edge of my seat once. He saves all the shots that I expect my goalkeeper to save. He catches all the balls I expect my goalkeeper to catch, more so than Leno, because I think he prefers to punch more often. And I just think he looks assured, composed, and that is feeding out towards the defenders as well, guys. He's giving confidence to the defenders when they give him the ball on either foot. I really like him. Yeah, I think Leno's got a job on his hands.
Would you agree with Mem has said there? Bearing in mind, like you're talking about catching and punching, there was that instinctive save low down against City that was just sublime. And we'd seen so many of our previous goalkeepers who would have fluffed it or whatever.
No, I mean, Martinez, as I think he's exceeded all our expectations at what we expected him to come in and do. You know, it was difficult for him to come on in that Brighton game, and he maybe struggled a little bit then. But since then, he hasn't really put a foot wrong, has he? He had that clearance against Liverpool, which hit Firmino and hit the post, which was, he got away with that one a little bit. But overall, he's not really put a foot wrong, has he? Mm-hmm. In terms of would I select him over Leno when Leno's fit? I think Leno's been brilliant this season. I do feel Martinez is a bit more commanding of his area. He's a lot taller. He comes out and gets things. Everything seems to stick to him. I don't know if he's got super glue on his gloves or something, but everything seems to stick. He doesn't parry things out. He just holds on to them, which is great because it means that, no one can score a rebound. He hasn't let him many goals that's been down to him. In fact, I don't think any goals that we've conceded since he's been in the team recently have been down to him particularly. So he probably deserves to keep his place, I would say. But then, so does Leno. It's a good situation to be in with 2 good goalkeepers, because we spent years, didn't we, with 2 poor goalkeepers. When Almunia was there, and people like that. And Fabianski, I know he could not have a decent career, but he wasn't a great goalkeeper for us. So now we've got 2 great goalkeepers. We've got 2 first-choice goalkeepers, haven't we? Which is a great situation to be in. But are either of them going to want to be second choice? I think if we're in Europe next year, playing the Europa League, one goalie's going to get maybe 25 games of all the cups. One's going to get 38 games in the league. Would they be happy with that? I don't know. I don't think you can swap and change a goalkeeper in the league. I think you need to get one, stick with them through the season, which is what most clubs do. At the moment, obviously, Martinez has got the shirt, but Leno's had it and not done anything to deserve not keeping it. So it's difficult. I wouldn't want to have to make that choice, actually, but I'm glad we've got 2 good goalkeepers that we can rely on. So that's a great sort of starting point, isn't it?
Can I just jump in quick? Sorry, can I just jump in on this quick? Sorry, Mem. But Leno has been probably our player of the season for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. In the way he's saved this club from a lot of crap and a lot of stick from that defence that has been absolutely shoddy. He's had an injury against Brighton, which is unlucky for him. And now Martinez has stepped up, and I am not going to criticise him whatsoever. He's done a hell of a job. But let's not forget, Leno's played under probably the worst conditions ever for this club so far that a goalkeeper needs to. In the facts that Emery, the crap defending that we've had, the crap defenders that we've had, and he's probably saved us more. He's saved us more than once from humiliation. Look at that double save. Look at that double save that he made against Tottenham.
Yeah, no one's
that's just one thing there. I am not taking anything away from Martinez. He's done really well, but I don't like this whole situation. Leno's not done anything wrong. In fact, he's probably saved us more often than not.
Yeah, no one's.
I can't turn around and say, like Richard said, he doesn't deserve dropping just because Martinez is playing well. I think we should be happy with the fact that we've got 2 great keepers at the moment who are playing really well. I didn't rate Martinez. I thought he was terrible personally. You know, because I've watched him at different clubs when he's been on loan and stuff, and he hasn't had great games, but he's stepped up to the mark. He's proving me wrong, and I'm more than happy for that to happen. I like
he had a really good run at Reading. He had a really good run at Reading, and Reading wanted to sign him on full term. My head office is in that region, and I know a lot of Reading fans, and they went, "Oh, we love your keeper. We want to keep him," and everything else was on loan a year ago. But you know what? As we alluded to earlier, as good as Leno and Martinez are, and I agree with you 100% on Leno has been outstanding in comparison to what we've had previously. A lot of it is down to defensive structure and team tactics, which enhances every area on the pitch. Listen, we need to look at the goals and stuff within that game.
You got to look at. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in quick. You got to look at Leno as well. He hasn't played under the system under Arteta yet. You know, this is completely new. This is completely changed from what.
No one's disputing, guys, what Leno has and hasn't done. All I'm saying is, the guy in possession at the moment looks far more composed and assured than Leno. And at the very least,
it's a completely but Mem, it's a completely different system to what Leno's been playing.
Nevertheless, on performances alone, he does look more assured. And at the very least, what I'm saying, the fact that you've got two keepers competing for one position is a real massive plus for us. And hopefully, much the same with Suarez in Hector's position. Competition, guys, you know, they will push each other on and upwards, and the club ultimately is going to benefit from that. So I'm all for it. Let them fight for it. Great. Whoever plays best gets the position. End of.
Like what's been said in the comments, it's not about Leno deserving to be dropped, and I don't think Leno does deserve to be dropped. It's about Martinez deserving his spot.
I never said Martinez should be dropped. I'm just saying I don't agree with the criticism at the minute that Leno's been getting when he's been playing. I've seen it everywhere, but I'm just saying. What I'm saying is I've seen it from in social media, which is toxic as it wants to be anyway. But what I'm saying is I don't feel that people should be dropping Leno and, you know, give the guy benefit of the doubt. Martinez is playing under a completely new system to what Leno has been used to over what we've seen over the last 2 years. We are playing far better defensively in some games. Like, look at the Liverpool game and look at the Man City game. So you can't judge Leno when he hasn't played in this style of system yet. We've got a completely new manager. He's only had so many games under this manager.
He's played from late December, just around Christmas, right through to March. So he's played. What's that?
Boxing Day. Was it Arteta signed on Boxing Day?
Yeah, his first.
He's played under it since Boxing Day, and then when did it finish? March.
He had 2 full months, so and it's busy months with cups and stuff like that. Listen, let's look at the goals. Aubameyang had a near miss, and then was followed up by a sublime team goal. 18 passes, all 10 players involved. It was Wenger ball, wasn't it, Rich?
It was a good goal.
No, it was. I mean, it gave us a few scary moments passing out from the back for 10 minutes before we got it forward. But I think we're going to have to get used to that, because that's what we're going to be doing now a lot more. And it worked really well. I mean, we drew them in, and then we got the ball quickly, switched it from left to right, didn't we? Got the cross in. I mean, the thing with Aubameyang is a lot of strikers who missed that first chance the second chance, they would have been a bit nervous or worried about it. He wasn't. First time shot outside of his foot to finish like that. That's a world-class finish, that. And I know people say, is he a world-class player or not? I don't know. But he is a world-class goal scorer. There's no doubt. His goal-scoring record. And the way he took that goal straight after missing one, which was probably an easier chance, if you're honest. I mean, the whole goal opened up. He could put it in either corner, and he had no composure, blasted it straight at the keeper. That was a bad miss, actually, for someone of his quality.
When he's instinctive as opposed to when he's got seconds to think things through. Yeah,
I agree. Although, having said that, the second goal, he had hours to think about it, because he's run through on goal. He almost looked like he wanted to pass to somebody. There was nobody there, and he took it on and scored. But that just shows to me his world-class finishing ability, that he could do that. It was, a minute after that miss, to get a chance like that, which was a difficult chance. Not many players would score that goal. It actually reminded me a bit similar, not as good, but the goal Di Canio Fabinho scored for West Ham, that one that got goal of the century, or whatever it was, with a sort of outside
I know
of
the
his
goal.
volley. It
Yeah.
wasn't as spectacularly
That was
executed as
outrageous.
that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It just reminded me a little bit of it, the way he's coming at the far
Mm.
post and it with the outside of his foot first time into the far corner. It was just a great goal, and it was a great team move before, which almost gets lost, I think, a little bit because of how good the finish was. But we had the ball for 10 minutes before we scored. They never got near it. They never got a touch, and that was brilliant against a team like Man City. We out Man City them, didn't we? Brilliant.
Well, you
I
did
think
no,
we've had-
absolutely. That's why I said Wenger ball. Like, and we went on into the second half where they turned. In the first half, they weren't themselves. In the second half, they came out and Sterling started putting some pressure. Martinez, as we've already touched on, came into his own. Overall, they had 71% possession of the game. But, at 66 minutes, I was sitting watching the game and I was thinking, Jesus, we're going to get done now. They're turning the screw. And then Tierney, Pepe, and Aubameyang, that second goal
Came at the right time.
It was
It did.
it was perfect. It was just such a sucker blow.
It just Ferg, like I said at the top of the show, it just panned out for us. They started for 15, 20 minutes. Boys, it was tough, wasn't it? It was bloody tough. And then we nicked the goal on probably our first or second counter. Aubameyang should have scored before he did score that sublime goal, as you pointed out. But then the second goal, again, just came at the right time. And then they just, at that point, it was like it was just hitting against a red wall. I don't remember them having too many chances after that.
I think they knew after the second goal that it was pretty much game over. And although they had a lot of possession, it was all in front of us, wasn't it? I don't think they even had a shot at goal, did they, after we scored the second goal?
Yeah.
And I think they just accepted their fate after that, really. It just showed what a great performance it was from 1 to 11.
What do we make? I want to get onto it, unfortunately, onto last night's game as well. But what do we make of Pepe? Pepe was involved in 17 goals in all competitions for Arsenal this season, 8 goals and 9 assists. Only Aubameyang has had 27 goals, has been involved more. What do we make of Pepe's performance in that particular game? And then also looking forward to the Villa game as well. Is he just like a big game, Charlie? Mike?
No, we've mentioned about Pepe before, haven't we? Give the guy time. He's just come from the French league. It's been a horrendous time, this year so far. Anyway, let's just give the guy a bit of time. Let's start seeing how he does next season. There's no point in trying to judge him on a season that's been riddled with so many issues. We've had 3 managers this season. And we've had all this with COVID as well. So let's just give it a chance.
Rich, thought?
See, sometimes I look at it and think that, it's almost like an easy cop-out, isn't it? Oh, he needs a season to adapt. Good players don't need a lot of time to adapt. Bergkamp needed 8 games to adapt, for example. I'm not trying to compare the two, just as an example. I mean, I think Pepe is very frustrating. He's not direct enough. He slows the play down too much. He put a great ball in for that first goal, by the way. But again, how did he do it? He cut back from the right onto his left foot. He's always doing that. And once a defender reads that, he becomes less and less effective in a game. I mean, I feel as though he's had impacting games to a certain degree. Like you said, his numbers are not bad, 8 goals and 9 assists or whatever it is, which is, a pretty decent return for his first season. We've got to accept that. But with his ability, and he's clearly got ability, there's no doubt about it. With his ability, he should be influencing games a lot more regularly, and he should be a constant threat. When a lot of the time he disappears, you don't even know he's playing half the time, and then suddenly he'll get the ball, cut back inside, and lose it and fall over. And I feel as though he's not done enough. Will he be better next season? Hopefully he will, because we've invested a lot of money in him, and he needs to produce more consistent performances. He needs to be a more consistent threat. You saw when Saka played on the right the other week. He's left-footed as well against Leicester. He went past the defender, put a ball in, and we scored. Pepe never does that, or very rarely. He won't go past the outside of someone. And even when he's played on the left, he played on left against somebody. I can't remember who it was now recently. He did nothing at all. He was anonymous. Tottenham it was, wasn't it? I think, was it? He was just completely anonymous. And it's like, I don't understand quite where he's going to fit in to our team. He doesn't seem to be what we need. That's what I think. But it's still early days. It's still early days.
Mike, Richard, I'm going to ask you a question, and Mem, you can keep out of this because I know your opinion. If you had the option,
talking about Pepe still, because go on.
If you were to choose Nicolas Pepe over Wilfred Zaha. One answer. Who would you choose? Mike, go first. Richard, go second. And give a one sentence why.
Pepe, because he's part of our team, so we've got to get behind him.
There you go. End of discussion.
Cop out.
Can I have my opinion on Pepe? Yeah.
Oh, no. Richard hasn't said yet.
Oh yeah, go on then.
I mean, I think the only difference is Zaha plays on the left and Pepe's been playing on the right. So we could almost have both of them, couldn't we? I suppose. But obviously Saka's kind of on the left and Aubameyang. So because he plays on the right and Zaha doesn't, I would say maybe Pepe, but only for that reason. I think we need to buy a right-sided player. St. Maximum, come on. St. Maximum is who we need. Let's be honest, direct. But anyway, if that was a choice between the two, I'd have St. Maximum over Pepe, but I'll take Pepe over Zaha just because of
Pepe, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Pepe because he's with us,
not Abu Dhabi.
Pepe, yeah, because we spent the money already, so it's I'm not into hypothetical conversations, yeah, but you know what I feel about it. Ironically, I agree with everything that you said, Richard, about him. Okay, he's not direct enough. He always slows it down. It reminds me of a certain German fella, Turkish imitation bloke that's back at home somewhere, always slows it down. His decision making, for me, he is outrageously talented. I honestly think he's arguably the most talented player on our books right now. Technically really good. But his decision making is piss poor. You know, he always turns in, he always slows it down. He's not nearly direct enough. Ironically, against City, I felt that was probably by far and away his best game because he just worked a little bit harder because of the game, the occasion. He just, to me, worked harder in that game than I've seen him work in any other game. But yeah, it's got to be Pepe, Ferg, because unfortunately that boat has sailed, mate. Yeah. We bought the wrong Ivorian.
No. But I think you got to love a player on with Wilfred.
Okay. Ready-made Premiership player, been at a big club, knows the job, plays right across the front line, and fundamentally, as a character, huge, much bigger. He was what we needed. He could have drawn a bigger performance out of players around him than what Nicola Pepe does, I'm afraid to say.
Okay. Right, finishing up on the semi-final, obviously Louise Xhaka Mustafi, until his injury, Mike, does deserve praise. It's one of his best games in probably seasons. And I don't know.
I think Dan should keep the beard. It's got something to do with Dan's beard, I reckon.
No, he's trimmed it down. I saw him on Zoom last night. It's all trimmed down. Haircut. Yeah, he doesn't look like he looks less. He looks less Ed Sheeran now. He just looks ginger. But yeah, but you know, you lost me there. Blimey, you threw me a little bit.
I'm just going to point out where you was going on with this, the defenders against City. Can I just point out and make a really good point? AMN kept Mahrez quiet, Maitland-Niles. He had a blinder in defence. Yeah. He wasn't great going forward, but you got to consider as well, he don't really play on the left-hand side. He's not a left-footed player, so he wasn't great going forwards and putting crosses in. Oh. But to keep Mahrez quiet, which is what we needed, he played an absolute blinder.
Right. What does Mahrez like to do when he gets on the ball? Loves to cut in, doesn't he? Just like Pepe does. And Ainsley on his right foot it just played straight into his hands. And that is down to our manager, guys. It was a great selection. But nevertheless, going forward, mate, my nan can pass the ball better than him. My nan.
He's not a left-footed player, and he was trying his hardest with his left foot. So, you know, give him a bit of credit. He made up for it. Whatever he did, mistakes that he went going forward, he made up for it far more.
He was brilliant at the back. Excellent. Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I have
a question. Putting him on our right-hand side, because I think that's where our danger zone was coming from the right-hand side. Bellerin and Mustafi wasn't having a great game. If I'm being honest, I didn't think they were. I thought if anything was going to go wrong our way, it was from that right-hand side.
But Mustafi made one mistake on the night.
We spoke last night, Mike, and we were chatting about the game, and we said about Bellerin that he was probably the weakest player that we saw. But even then, he was yeah, I'm not a big Bellerin fan, but I'll always try and take an objective view. Even then, he was very good. I have a question which I was going to leave till later. I'm going to give it to you now and think about it while we do the Villa game, and then we've got some other bits of debate about, like our starting 11. That City side, is that our starting 11? Do we need to add to it? Do we need better depth in our squad to cover and rotate? And in what areas would you have that depth? Now, don't answer it now. We're going to do the Villa game, and people in the chat, you can think about it as well. So the Villa game.
Can I just say before the Villa game, I just want to say the Man City game, how brilliant Xhaka was. That was perfect performance. Right? and I know I'm in a group of one who supported Xhaka all the way through all of this, right? This season, last season, since he's been at the club, right? And I've supported him because I like the guy. I think he's a good player, and I enjoyed the fact that he was so good in such a big game, and he was brilliant. And to be fair, he was brilliant against Liverpool. He's been brilliant for quite a few games now. It's not just a one-off. He's actually a good player now. He's in the right system that suits him. Ceballos and him work really well together. And I just think everybody who's maybe criticised him before, yes, I can understand why he got maybe some criticism for certain things that's happened. But I just think everyone's now got to stand up and appreciate what a great job Jack has done in the last 10, 15 games and actually appreciate that he is a good footballer. He is a good footballer as well underneath it all. He's just been in maybe systems in the past that haven't suited him. He's been exposed because he's been left with 2 or 3 players running at him previously. And now he's got the protection that he needs. He's able to express himself. And what a leader he is as well. You know, he was a real leader against Man City on that pitch. And I personally believe he should be captain, but I know a lot of people don't think that's right.
You really do like him, don't you?
I think at the moment he's our best player. He's our best player at the moment. He's been our best player for quite a long time, and I just feel as though that needs to be accepted.
I think Ceballos
Rich, have you just had a run? Rich, have you just had a run?
Not today, no.
I'm thinking dehydration or something that's affecting.
I'll have some water. Hang
on. Breathe.
I'm better now. I'm all right now.
I'd argue Ceballos has been better than him, but nevertheless, he's been really good. And long may it continue, mate. Long may it continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Ceballos has been good since the restart, but Xhaka has had a lot longer to prove himself. Xhaka is not a leader. I think he's far from it, and from his actions from before, I don't want him to be a leader. I think he's not able to express himself. I think he's one-dimensional. He's very simple. He does a simple pass, and he's one-footed. Listen, he does a good job. You need players like that. We had Gilberto Silva who done a job like that, and when he's in the role he's in and supported with the players around him, he's doing all right. But anyway, Arsenal have reached the FA Cup final for a record 21 times. The Gunners also winning the competition more than any other side. We've won it 13 times. Actually, hopefully we're going to win it 14 times, so we'll have a bigger buffer against anybody else.
Yeah, we're going to win it.
More holders of the FA Cup than anybody else, and on the last 6 occasions we came up against the FA Cup holders, we've knocked them out. This is our trophy, boys. We've got a gold one for the Premier League. We're working on that, but the FA Cup is our trophy. We're going to work on that one as well. So Villa, it was dreadful game, awful game. 94 minutes. We're never going to get back.
Move on.
Who wants to go?
Can I say something about the Villa game?
Move on.
I'll say something about the Villa game. Yeah, I'll say something about the Villa game. After the effort we put in over the games against Liverpool and City, unfortunately, there was all. Is it fair to say that we've kind of like shooting above ourselves, punching above our weight at the moment against the likes of Liverpool and City? So there was always going to be a little bit of a bounce downwards or a downwards going away to Villa. And Villa last night, they're fighting for their lives, guys. And I thought they were really good. They wanted it more than us. It was really, really clear. However, the only thing that came out of the Villa game for me, and I'm a massive fan of this guy. I've been a fan of him for years, and I think he's ready now. We need to go out and buy Jack Grealish because he opens doors. He unlocks the door. He's a key opener. The fact that he's been playing at Villa, in a poor team and been performing the way he has done, I'm a massive fan. I really am a massive fan of his. Yeah, that's
Well, let's
about
say
as
we
much
get
as
him on
I'd
the
like to
cheap
say
after
about
that
Villa.
performance last night.
He's
We've
not
done
better
them
than
a favour.
Xhaka, though, is he?
Right.
He gave me your time on Xhaka.
I don't think you guys. This boy is stupid talented. I think he's the most talented English player. I'll say it, yeah, since Paul Gascoigne. He's outrageously talented, this kid. And if we don't go and get him, he's going to end up somewhere else. And I think he's going to carve out a massive name for himself. I really do.
And on Grealish, if Tottenham didn't have their stadium issues last season, he would have been a Tottenham player now.
Man, you want him, guys, didn't they?
If we could nick him, I don't think we can. I don't think
What's your opinion? What do you guys think of Jack Grealish? Just quickly, because the Villa game is not worth talking about. But as a player, what do you guys think of him?
Peaky Blinder.
I like Jack Grealish. I do. I mean, I'm still not 100% convinced if he's able to step up this level that he would need to play for a top 6 club. And until he gets the opportunity, we won't know, I guess. But I agree, he's a talented player, but he's a little bit of an unknown how well he can do. I don't know. I guess he's probably better in that position than a lot of what we've got. So,
Mike, what do you think, Mike?
Could he play for a top 8, top 10 team, Richard?
I mean, he could probably play for anybody. I think he's good enough. But would he improve, say, the teams that are in the top 6 at the moment? Would he improve them if he played for them? Maybe 1 or 2 he might. But can he make that step up? We don't know because he's not done it, has he? He's always played for Villa his whole career in the Championship for a lot of the time, most of it. And he's had one season in the Premier League where, yes, he's been their best player by a mile, and he looks a really exciting player. But again, a lot of players have gone from smaller teams to bigger teams and not made that step up. Others have done really well and progressed. Have we got the money to take a risk on somebody like that? I don't know. But if we can get him, yeah, why not?
But as it stands, after that result last night, the best we can get is 8th place. So we're out of Europe unless we win the cup. So, we're now West Ham in disguise or bloody Everton in disguise.
No. Don't talk nonsense, mate. No.
We've had one bad season, haven't we? We've had one bad season. It doesn't make us a mid-table club anymore. We just had one bad season.
League position-wise, it does.
It happens.
Also, each season, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been dropping down and down and down, further and further. We haven't been in a position like this since 81, 82, 87, 88. Bruce Rioch, that's the last time. The Gunners have lost, the last 10 games. What's the stat? Sorry, I've got a stat on here. I wrote down.
No. So I don't buy that, mate. Listen, I don't think I'm fairly optimistic, massively optimistic about the future. I don't think we're.
He's gone.
Go on, Mike. Anyway,
what I was going to say is, look, you got to think of it this way. Yes, we've been playing poorly over the last couple of seasons, but we've changed manager since then over the last couple of seasons. Wenger, to his credit, pulled out some blinders in the seasons to keep us top 4 with some of the players that we had. So you got to give him slight credit for that. Like I say, we changed manager. Look what happened to Chelsea when they changed manager. They ended up 10th. Man United, where did they? I can't remember what position they ended up in when Ferguson left. So again, they changed manager. They're only just starting now. Man United are just starting to get peak into that form that they were at that point. They've always been in the top 6, definitely, but they're still getting to that point. So they're still transitioning in some respect. So yeah, you just give us a bit of time, and I think we'll be able to come back to it. But we need the right team behind Arteta. I think we've got the right manager. We just need the right team behind him. Now, this is where the proof's going to be in the pudding this coming transfer window for me. If we've got the right team behind him.
I don't even think it's going to be resolved with one transfer window, guys. I think we're pinning our hopes too much on what's going on in the summer.
It'll give us an idea of the direction that we're moving in, though, won't it? I'm not saying it's going to be the answer to all our problems. But if we sign 2 or 3 players that we know Arteta wants in the right positions, we know that we're moving in the right direction. Whereas if we
Definitely.
don't, and we don't make these signings at all, and we end up with a transfer window like last year or the year before, then we know what direction the club are going in, and it's all finished.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Cheers, Richard.
I know what it
And Shaq was great. And
Before
Shaq
I
was
got
great.
cut off, mate. Aside of Liverpool and City, honestly, I don't see. There's not too many. You know, like the likes of Spurs, Chelsea. Do you think these clubs are significantly better than where we are right now? I know
Chelsea
the
aren't
table.
better than us. Chelsea aren't better than us. They're in the top 4. They're not better than us. I'm not having it. They're
That's
not.
what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I think Chelsea are probably just a little bit better than us. But Man United, Tottenham, Sheffield, all the others. No, I don't think there's much.
It turned. Everything's turned on the transfer of one player. The entire club seemed to have been transformed just off of the purchase of that Fernandes. He just seemed to have lifted everyone around him.
He's not as good as Xhaka, though. Or
Or
Grealish for that man.
Yeah, I do like Grealish.
Looking at the Villa game, Trezeguet scored on the 27th minute. It was a low score, a low shot, assisted by Tyrone Mings. 21 of our 46 goals that we've conceded in the Premier League this term have come from set pieces. Goes back to what we're talking about, defensive issues. I don't want to go big into the game because the game was a crock of shit, if I'm honest. You know, it's the first time Villa have not faced a shot on target in the Premier League since January 2016.
First time they beat us since '98, guys. I think.
At their ground. At their ground, it is. Yeah.
That's why I hope they stay up because it's 3 points for us next season, hopefully.
6, hopefully.
I just think regarding the game last night, I mean, I think the Watford result just before gave Villa a massive lift. It made them knew they had to win that game. We were just maybe 5% off our potential because of maybe Saturday, because of the changes, and Villa were maybe 5% over their potential because of how important it was. And I think that's what made the difference at the end of the day. It does, yeah. There's small margins in the game. I mean, Nketiah hits the post, that could easily have gone in, and then we come away with a draw, and we'll say, okay, fair enough, we'll take the draw. But it was, I just think that we played Villa at the wrong time for us. If Watford had, say, won and Villa were down already, I think we'd have won that game because Villa would have been flat and we'd have just beaten them. With the same team playing exactly the same way, Villa would have had no motivation as much to get a result. And I think it just, unfortunately, everything conspired against us before that game, and that's just the way it is. You know, even if we'd played our so-called full-strength team, I still think we would have lost that game because of how more important to Villa it was than to us. And we were having a bit of a come-down after Saturday, wasn't we? So I wasn't surprised. I'm not that disappointed about it. I've seen a bit of meltdown on Twitter from Arsenal fans. It's like, really, come on. You've got to look at the concept of the game. It wasn't a normal. If we'd played Villa 3 weeks ago, we'd have beat them. Absolutely no doubt about it. We would have beat them 3 weeks ago. But this time, this particular night, that game meant so much to them that they were determined. They just had that little bit extra that they needed to get the result. That's it.
I was still disappointed.
I sort of agree with that, but I think the problem is for me is obviously we're coming into an FA Cup final now. Every player that we've got is going to be wanting to play in that final. The problem is that I saw on it, I just don't think any of them players that played against Villa yesterday deserve to be in the final. Like Troll, I'm not going to say it. Troll said, you know, we had 0 shots on goal and we had Aubameyang out, you know, and Pepe and Lacazette. So, you know, I mean, there's how much that's 180 million in signings that is in our front three. I just think we didn't have any creativity going forward from the midfield. You know, and that's the issue that's the issue that we've got. But I just don't think any of them players deserve to play in the final. That's the issue. That's the issue I'm finding with it. Not one of them players stepped up that much. You know, we had a lot of changes. I agree with that. We had Torreira on, we had Holding on, we had Kolasinac on, who was awful.
Yeah, he's only good in a street fight. That man.
Suarez came in, didn't he?
Suarez came in, and I don't think any of them deserve to be in the
Eddie
go into the final, barring the goalkeeper. You know, obviously for obvious reasons, but I just don't think any of them deserve to be in the game. You know, and they should be every single one of them should be stepping up to say, look, I shouldn't be dropped for this final. I know you've put me in now. I'm going to give you a reason to have an headache to pick players in this next final.
Mike,
maybe we'll see that on Saturday, won't we? Maybe or Sunday rather. We might see it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you reckon that we chuck the game away, no shots on target, and let Aston Villa win to get them up, so Watford get relegated, and Troy Deeney, I know he's a gooner, but he's got no cojones, as Dave Atkinson says in the comments. He said that really early on. I had to troll back through them to find it, but it would be nice to, if we were the ones to send Watford down. I did say Watford to go down before. God,
no, I don't think that's got anything to do with it. I just think it was a bad game. In all fairness, it's a bad game by players that should be stepping up. For me.
So, going back to the question I asked you guys about before we went into the Villa game, which you didn't really touch on properly because we don't want to, is what we saw against, say, City and Liverpool, is that the starting 11? Is that good enough to be a Premier League starting 11 and going on, hopefully, 4 fronts? Because our only opportunity to get into Europe is via the FA Cup. It is what we've got. You got players like Saka, which everybody you've been talking about is fantastic. He's only a young kid. We got, Guendouzi, Torreira, who mightn't be there. You've got Willock, who people talk about. Is he good enough? Is he not? Put him out on loan, sell him. You've got Maitland-Niles, who never gets played in his right position, has on and off game. We've got so many of these little fringe academy players breaking through, some of which are showing some promise, but they're making a part of that starting 11. Is what we've got good enough to be a starting 11 for a full campaign for 2020-2021 season?
No.
No. I think that Mikel Arteta has already alluded towards it, guys, hasn't he? He wants to strengthen. He wants backing. We all know where we need strengthening. It is essentially in the heart of the defence. The midfield is probably going to need, again, attendance, because I don't know if Tobias is going to stay. I hope he does. I haven't been too excited about him other than the last few games. I've said this to you, Fergus. I can't get excited about a guy who's potentially only at our club for a year, yeah? I'm looking beyond that. I'm looking beyond the bigger picture. Now, there's talk about him staying. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think he's a fine player and can only improve. Then you've got situations with Aubameyang. Is he staying? Is he signing? So, no, I don't think what we currently have is what we're going to be going into next season with. I think there's going to be a few go-ins and hopefully a few quality signings. And more from, I want to see more of the young guys given up. I want to see Smith Rowe given an opportunity next season. I want to know if he's good enough to make it at my club. If he's not, then tough. That's the way of life, unfortunately. Yeah. Then we'll move on to the next one. That is it. It has to be as ruthless as that. The guys that are in possession at the moment, fine. They're doing the job. He's raised their performances. They're not here for the duration. I know how you feel about Xhaka, yeah, and he's doing really well at the moment. But as soon as we've got someone better, he'll be jogged on, and then the next guy will come in. And the same should apply for every single one of them. Okay? If he wants to grow and push this club forward, then the current squad ain't going to get us in the top 4 next year, guys. We're not that far off of them, accepted, but I don't think we're currently good enough to break into that top 4. So, no, the current squad is not good enough. It does need much attention. But it's going to take time, as the lads have already said, 1, 2, maybe 3 transfer windows. But again, I want to see what's coming through behind the likes of Nilsson, Willett, Saka. I want to see the rest of them, Fergus. I'd like to see these young lads given an opportunity. I mean, Smith Rowe's been springing up trees over at Huddersfield, so let's get him down here next year and give the boy a go, yeah? Jog that Turkish-German fella on. Get rid of the dead wood. I'm sick and tired of... I don't want no more passengers at my club. Yeah? And if Pepe becomes a passenger as well, if he's not ready to jump on board next season, then jog him on as well. We only want players that are going to fight and give everything that they can on that pitch. And that's the way we move our club forward.
Without getting into the Ozil situation, he is causing a big deadlock and impasse for everything, because the amount of money he's taken up is just causing issues. Finished. Mike, what's your thoughts on the 11 we got, the squad we've got overall, following on from what Mem said?
No, I agree with Mem. You know, they're all right. They're doing a job. They're not going to break top four for us. We do need a couple of transfer windows before we start breaking that deadlock. We do need to get our, I'm going to say board, but it's not really board, but the powers that be need to start really pulling trees up, don't they, and start looking at some really good sidings that we do need in key areas, and they need to back Arteta, you know, like he said after the Liverpool game, you know, even he admitted after the Liverpool game, he needs backing. Yeah, exactly. He called them out. So, you know, let's help him out.
It was at times.
So let's do it. Let's back him.
Rich, your thoughts on the
maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic, but my view is with the current players that we've got at the club, bearing in mind this is including Pablo Mari and William Saliba and Martinelli as well, with those three players in the team, instead of say Mustafi, instead of Kolasinac, and instead of maybe Pepe, Martinelli in the team. With those three in the team, I believe that with Arteta as a coach, we would have a very good chance of finishing in the top four, as it stands anyway, because I believe that Chelsea aren't stronger than us. Leicester certainly aren't.
We don't know what Mari's like yet, though, Rich, to be fair. We don't.
We don't know what Saliba's like either, but I'm guessing they're going to probably be better than what we've got, because it wouldn't be hard, would it? Let's face it. So they're going to improve the team. They're going to improve the team more than likely that we've got. Martinelli, we know what he can do, so I think he's going to improve our team. I think we've missed having him available. Yes, I think if we can sign 2 or 3 players this summer, particularly in midfield, creativity-wise, maybe physicality-wise as well, I think we've got enough defenders who can maybe get us through next season. I'm not saying if we can get the opportunity to get a decent one in, then fair enough. And then I think we'd definitely have a great chance of get top 4 next season. When you look at the improvements Arteta's already made, with 2 or 3 better players in the squad for him to be able to choose from, especially in the defensive areas and midfield, I think we can definitely challenge for the top 4 next season. Whether we can quite get in there, it's difficult to get in the top 4 now, isn't it? Because there's 7 or 8 teams battling for it now. It's not like it used to be, where there was maybe 5 teams and you had to just get ahead of 1 to get in. Now there's pretty much 8 teams, isn't there? And that's not even including if Newcastle get taken over. There could be another one coming in. So it's hard to get in the top 4. But I don't see any reason why. I think we're on the right tracks. Let's see what this summer brings. If we get 2 or 3 players in the right positions that we need, we strengthen those areas, and I think we can definitely challenge top 4 next season. If we get in the top 4 back in the Champions League with the extra money next summer, we can then really push on, bring the players in that we need, and really then push on and actually challenge. Because I think Liverpool and Man City have only got another year or 2 left at the top at their level that they're at.
Richard, that's a really good point, and it brings us on to our last and final point, which is to do with the plane that flew over Villa Park. Says back, Arteta, Kroenke out, which goes into, you know,
what a stupid banner that was.
What poor timing. But
well, it's not that. I could understand if it said back Arteta, then yeah, I could agree with that. But it's not just that. You're asking
Kroenke out.
Yeah. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want to back Arteta or do you want Kroenke out? Which, you know, you can't have the both, can you? You got to have one or the other. It's stupid. What idiot paid for that? Or what idiots paid for that?
Some guy on Twitter came along and said he was really happy that he contributed towards the cause and the cost of the banner, and he's got
well done to you. You've made yourself look all right, twat.
I think it's the numpty cameraman that stuck his camera, because there's no fans. There's no fans down there to look up and see it. It's the numpty with the camera. Why is he even looking up at it?
I didn't see it didn't come up on Sky Sports on mine. Oh, you hear? I was watching the one without the crowd noise. All you could hear is
that's the one I watched, Mike.
You know,
I love it. It's actually great listening to all the players, listening to all the shouting and the manager. I love Mikel on the side. Yeah, Danny. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I love
Arteta. When you hear him in the background, he's shouting in French, he's shouting in Spanish, he's
going to make us great.
You know what, Mike? I've got that in my notes, and there was one thing I was going to say. Arteta, he's so multilingual, and it reminds me again of Wenger could speak 7 languages.
Yeah, but he never shouted though, does he?
I love Mikel.
No, he didn't need to.
It's a mixture. It's a little bit of a mixture of Wenger and a mixture of Guardiola, and he's not quite one or the other, but he's he's got it. From the first moment I see him and the way he carries himself and talks and his actions and everything, he wants it.
He's got a little bit of George Graham as well, hasn't he? Do you not
He's
think?
going to make it happen. I think he's got a ruthless streak in him as well. I think as you've shown with Guendouzi, Özil. Who was the other one that he dropped out of the team? Was there anyone else that he dropped out of the team this year? But he's not going to suffer any falls. I believe the man's got a streak in him. You get maybe 1 or 2 strikes, and that's it. You're off, as it should be.
I agree 100%. It wouldn't have been my choice, Mikel Arteta, but you know what?
I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't overly critical, but I was very critical about it. I didn't think he would probably turn out to what he is. So again, I'm eating my words here, and I love every minute of it. I don't mind that. I love to be proved wrong.
Me too.
I really do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to negotiate a divorce settlement with the wife so I can marry the fella. You know, so
good luck with that.
Yeah, it's going to be expensive, isn't it? Listen, boys. It has been really enjoyable. We've stuck more or less on time. It shows that 24 of us on here, that works. It's been brilliant the first 40 minutes or so before we had to talk about the game last night, but the debate was good as well. We had the Xhaka appreciation. We had the Xhaka appreciation club as well. Sorry, Truls, I'm with you on that. Truls is typing some stuff in the comments.
Busy, isn't he?
Truls is from Norway, and he's an avid
drunk.
He's drunk.
He's been busy though, hasn't he? He's been tapping away.
He's done well. He has done well. Yeah.
But if you're drunk in Norway, you must be a very wealthy man. There's about £10 a pint out there, you know.
Funny how you know that. Ferg.
Probably brews it himself.
Yeah.
Funny how you know that.
Moonshining it up.
How do you know that £10 a pint?
I know the price. That's why it's not on my visiting list. Mem, as always, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, mate. Pleasure.
My wingman, Mike, thank you very much, as always. And Richard, you can have one last love in for Xhaka. Go on, and then we'll
I think everybody's got to start appreciating him now, surely.
No, you've said enough, and we've agreed. Nothing more
I've done
said about him.
He's muted.
Is he?
Sorry,
I can see that on the screen, you know.
I know you.
Mike, is that?
Right,
what's that behind you? What's that side? Is that? I can't. Yeah, that one. No, the other side. Yeah, I can't see it. My eyes are gone, mate. That looks like that's a scarf.
You've muted him now.
Muted me, yeah. Is that a scarf? Yeah. I can't hear you. What are you doing, Ferg?
Oh, sorry, it's me that I've put it on mute. That's an Arsenal scarf, mate. If he says that's half and half, I'll slap him. It says Arsenal all the way across it, red and blue.
That looks wicked. I've never seen one like that. That's wicked.
I can't remember where I got it from, but it's an official one.
It's cool, that is.
That actually worries me because he knows where I live.
I know, exactly. That's an official one. It's supporting the Arsenal home and away, and I go to a lot of away games. So.
And I love all the shirts in the background, mate. You've got untold shirts there, haven't you?
Yeah, I just done my collection out the other day. I just thought we deserved it getting a Wembley and that, so I thought I'd dig all my old shirts out.
I suppose you've said it a couple of times. It's a shame the fans can't go. It's a crying shame.
Oh, I've been saying about it. I'm gutted, mate. Absolutely gutted.
What are you boys actually going to do though on the day?
Watch on TV.
I know that, but are you planning on it?
Kickoff time has been confirmed at 5:30 on the 1st. Which
sounds about right.
Yeah.
They'll normally have a massive build-up, and it'll all be about Chelsea. You don't see much on it, especially on the BBC.
Trevor's thinking about coming down London. I know Mike was considering it as well.
Carnage.
It could be Highbury Fields, and and a pub. Mike, there's a spare room, so
yeah, I know, mate. We'll have to sneak into Highbury, mate, if we won. If I could get down there, we'll sneak into Highbury again and just dance on the pitch.
Sleep on the little grass in the middle of all them flats. Sleep there for the night. That'd be good.
Isn't it lovely there, though?
When I come to visit last time, when did we come? When did I come to it? What game was it? Was it the Sporting Lisbon game when I come down? Come down for a couple of days, didn't we? We went to the armory, didn't we? The old armory.
Yeah,
And then we went into Highbury, but some guy was coming out the gate, so we said, "Oh, quick, get in!" So we went into the gates at Highbury, got stuck in there. There's no one kicking around either.
Brilliant in there.
Boys,
Brings back a lot of memories.
It's been wonderful. I enjoy them. You know what? Of recent weeks, I've not been enjoying looking forward to doing these because they're hard work, and I'm just sick of the season, the lockdown, the behind closed doors, and everything else. It just doesn't fill you with the same enthusiasm about football. But I do these, and we spend an hour on here chatting as mates. You know, our motto is by Arsenal fans, for Arsenal fans, for fans, Arsenal fans. Chatting like we're down the pub. Yeah, I got my beer. But chatting like we're down the pub, having a laugh, and the world is joining in with us. I've really, really enjoyed it. Only one last thing to say. Up the arse.
Up the Arsenal. Oh,
Up the
right.
Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners!